Sit in the back. You're embarrassing us. My mother's whisper cut through the Christmas jazz playing in their Denver living room, sharp enough that I felt it in my ribcage. She didn't even look at me when she said it, just kept smiling at Aunt Carol, who was adjusting the garland on the fireplace mantel. My sister Bryn stood 3 feet away, holding a glass of mulled wine, and when our eyes met, she didn't flinch. She just nodded, slowly, like she'd been waiting years for someone to finally say it out loud. Okay, pause. I want to hear what you think is going to happen next. Drop your biggest guess in the comments below. While you're down there, tap the subscribe button to officially join the discussion. We're building a community of amazing story lovers, and I don't want you to miss out. Okay, let's find out if your prediction was right. I was standing near the dessert table, holding a slice of pumpkin pie I hadn't taken a bite of yet. The house smelled like cinnamon and pine, the kind of smell that's supposed to make you feel like you belong. But all I felt was the cold creeping up my spine. The way it does when you realize you've been playing a role in someone else's script, and they just handed you your exit line. Around me the party hummed. My parents' annual holiday gathering. 20 years running, always the weekend before Christmas, always at their house in Cherry Creek. Cousins I barely talked to anymore. Neighbors who remembered me as the quiet one. College friends of Bryn's who treated me like staff. Everyone glittering under the string lights my dad had spent all afternoon hanging. Everyone performing the kind of joy you only see in commercials for luxury cars or life insurance. I looked down at the pie. My hands weren't shaking yet, but they would be soon. I could feel it building, the kind of pressure that starts in your chest and spreads until your whole body hums with it. Not anger. Not yet. Something colder. Something that had been waiting a long time to surface. Mom, I said quietly. My voice sounded strange, like it belonged to someone standing outside myself, watching this scene through a window. What did you just say? She turned then, her smile tightening at the edges. Her pearls caught the light. She'd worn pearls to every one of these parties since I was a kid, the same ones my grandmother left her. The ones Bryn would inherit someday, according to the will I wasn't supposed to know about. Sweetheart, she said, voice dropping into that practiced softness she used when she wanted to sound reasonable. You know how these things are. We're taking the big family photo in 10 minutes, and, she glanced toward Bryn, then back at me. It's just easier if you're not front and center. You understand. I didn't understand. Or maybe I did. And that was worse. Bryn stepped closer, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor. She'd flown in from Austin 2 days ago, and somehow in 48 hours she'd already reclaimed her spot at the center of everything. The prodigal daughter. The one who made partner at 32. The one whose engagement photos were framed on 3 different walls in this house. It's not personal, Cam, she said, using the nickname no one but her still called me. You're just, you don't really fit the vibe we're going for. The vibe? I looked at her. Really looked. At the woman I used to share a bunk bed with. The woman I'd covered for when she snuck out senior year. The woman I'd lent $3,000 to when her startup tanked. Money she never paid back because family doesn't keep score. She looked back at me like I was a problem she'd already solved. That's when I felt it. Not the breaking. The settling. Like something inside me had finally stopped trying to hold itself together. And just let go. Fell into place. Cold. Clear. Final. I set the pie down on the table. Wiped my hands on my jeans. The jeans my mother had side-eyed when I walked in. The ones that weren't festive enough for her vision of a perfect holiday. Okay, I said. Bryn blinked. Okay. Yeah. I smiled. Not the smile I usually gave them. The one that said I'm fine, don't worry, I'll handle it. This one was different. Smaller. Sharper. The kind of smile that doesn't reach your eyes because it's not trying to. I'll sit in the back. My mother exhaled, relief flooding her face. Bryn's shoulders relaxed. They thought I'd folded. They had no idea I'd just made a decision that would unravel everything they'd spent 20 years building. And as I walked toward the hallway, away from the light and the laughter and the family I no longer recognized, one thought crystallized in my mind with the kind of clarity that only comes when you've finally stopped pretending. This is the last time they get to make me invisible. My name is Cameron Wells. I'm 34, a software engineer at a mid-sized tech firm in Boulder. And for most of my life, I believed that being dependable was the same thing as being loved. I grew up in Denver, in a house that looked like it belonged on a holiday card. My parents, Richard and Diane Wells, were the kind of people who planned everything. Coordinated Christmas sweaters by the time I was 6. Annual ski trips to Breckenridge. Summer barbecues where my dad grilled elk burgers, and my mom served them on plates that matched the napkins. From the outside, we looked like the American dream wrapped in Eddie Bauer and good credit scores. But inside that picture-perfect frame, there was always a hierarchy, and I was never at the top of it. Bryn was 4 years older, blonde where I was brunette, effortlessly charming where I was thoughtful and quiet. She was the kid who got lead roles in school plays while I ran tech crew. She was homecoming queen. I was in the robotics club. And our parents didn't just prefer her, they built their entire identity around her. When Bryn got into CU Boulder, my dad bought her a brand new Subaru Outback. When I got into the same school 2 years later, he handed me the keys to his old Tacoma with 140,000 miles on it and said, "You'll appreciate earning your own someday." When Bryn graduated, they threw her a party at the country club. White tablecloths, a jazz trio, 200 guests. When I graduated, we went to Olive Garden. Just the 4 of us. My mom spent most of dinner talking about Bryn's new job in Austin. I told myself it didn't matter. That I was strong enough not to need the fanfare. That being the steady one, the reliable one, was its own kind of value. So I worked. I paid off my student loans in 6 years. I bought a small condo in Boulder. I showed up to every holiday, every birthday, every family obligation. And I smiled through all of it. But the thing about being invisible is that people start to believe you don't mind. They start to assume you're fine with less because you never ask for more. And over time, less becomes nothing. 3 Thanksgivings ago, my parents seated me at the kids' table. I was 31. Bryn sat with the adults. 2 Christmases ago, they forgot to buy me a stocking. Bryn's was monogrammed. Last 4th of July, at their cabin in Estes Park, my mom introduced Bryn's fiancé to every guest who walked through the door. She introduced me once as our other daughter. Our other daughter. I started keeping track after that. Not out of bitterness, but out of a need to understand if I was imagining it. I wasn't. Every family photo they posted on Facebook featured Bryn front and center. I was cropped out of half of them. Every conversation about the family revolved around her career, her engagement, her life. Mine was an afterthought, a footnote, a housework. Asked without waiting for the answer. And still I showed up. Because that's what you do, right? You show up for family. You forgive. You hope that one day they'll see you the way you've always seen them. As people worth loving, worth protecting, worth everything. But tonight, standing in that living room, holding a slice of pie I'd brought from my favorite bakery in Boulder, the one I drove 40 minutes to get because my mom mentioned last week she missed their pumpkin recipe, I finally understood something I'd been refusing to see for years. They didn't forget to see me. They chose not to. There's a difference between being overlooked and being erased. And my family had spent decades perfecting the latter. They made me small so Bryn could shine. They made me quiet so her voice carried further. They made me the backup, the safety net, the dependable one who'd always be there no matter how little they gave back. And the worst part? I let them. But what they didn't know, what none of them could have predicted as I walked toward the back of that room, past the laughter and the lights and the people who'd spent 34 years teaching me I didn't matter, was that dependable people don't break when you push them too far. They plan. And I was about to show them exactly what happens when the invisible daughter finally decides to be seen. The party had started 3 hours earlier, right as the December sun dipped behind the Rockies and turned the sky that perfect Colorado purple-pink. I'd arrived on time, 6 p.m. sharp, because that's what my mother had texted me. Don't be late. We're starting photos at 6:30. When I walked through the door, arms full of the bakery box and a bottle of wine I'd picked up from Total Wine, my dad was adjusting the smart thermostat in the entryway. He glanced up, nodded once and said, "Bryn's in the living room." Not "Hey Cam." Not "Glad you made it." Just a geographical update on my sister's location, like I was a delivery driver dropping off a package. I stepped into the house and felt the familiar rush of warmth. Gas fireplace crackling, Bing Crosby crooning from the Sonos speakers, the scent of my mom's signature mulled wine simmering in the slow cooker. Everything looked like a Williams-Sonoma catalog had exploded in the most expensive way possible. Garland wrapped around the staircase banister. A 12-foot Douglas fir in the corner, dripping with ornaments my parents had collected over 30 years of marriage. Candles flickering on every surface. And people. So many people. My mom's book club friends clustered near the kitchen island, laughing over glasses of Chardonnay. My dad's golfing buddies stood by the sliding glass doors, probably talking about their portfolios or the Broncos' playoff chances. Bryn's college roommate, Jessica, the one who'd started a successful skincare line, was perched on the arm of the sectional, holding court with a circle of admirers. And then there was Bryn. She stood in the center of the living room like she'd been spotlit, even though the lighting was ambient and even. She wore a cream-colored cashmere sweater dress that probably cost more than my mortgage payment, her hair blown out in those perfect loose waves influencers pay hundreds for. Her engagement ring, 2 carats, emerald cut, something her fiancé Kyle had proposed with on a beach in Tulum, caught the firelight every time she gestured. She was talking to Aunt Carol, my mom's sister, who'd flown in from Phoenix for the party. Carol was nodding enthusiastically, hanging on every word. I caught fragments as I moved closer. Closed the deal last week. Biggest client we've ever signed. Kyle thinks we should buy in Zilker if we're going to settle in Austin long-term. I set the bakery box on the dessert table, already overflowing with homemade cookies, a charcuterie board from Whole Foods, and what looked like a professionally catered tray of chocolate truffles, and tried to blend into the holiday chaos. No one turned. No one waved. No one said, "Cameron, you made it." I stood there for a beat, holding the wine bottle, scanning the room for a familiar face that might actually be happy to see me. My cousin Derek was by the fireplace, but he was deep in conversation with one of my dad's work friends. My mom was in the kitchen, laughing with her book club. Bryn finally looked up. Our eyes met across the room. She smiled bright, practiced, the same smile she used in her LinkedIn headshot, and lifted her wine glass in a small toast. Then she turned back to Aunt Carol without saying a word. That's when I felt it. Not hurt. Not yet. Just a low hum of awareness, like the moment before a smoke alarm goes off when you can smell something burning, but you haven't found the source. I drifted toward the dessert table, poured myself a glass of wine from the bottle I'd brought, and watched. Watched my mom fuss over Bryn's hair. Watched my dad introduce Kyle to his business partner with pride in his voice I'd never heard directed at anyone I'd dated. Watched relatives gravitate toward my sister like she had her own magnetic field. And slowly, with the kind of clarity that only comes when you stop lying to yourself, I realized something. I wasn't family here. I was decorative. Optional. The person they invited out of obligation, not love. And tonight, standing on the edges of a party that had no space for me, I was about to find out just how optional I really was. The photo setup started at 7:15 p.m., 15 minutes late because Bryn wanted to touch up her lipstick. My mom gathered everyone in front of the Christmas tree. The big one, the showpiece, the one that took my dad and 2 neighbors 3 hours to get inside and string with lights. She'd hired a photographer this year. A young woman named Sloane who kept adjusting her Canon and murmuring about natural light, even though it was pitch black outside. "Okay, family first," my mom announced, clapping her hands like a kindergarten teacher. "Then we'll do extended family, then the fun group shots." I moved toward the tree with everyone else. My dad positioned himself on the left. Bryn and Kyle took center. My mom hovered near Bryn's shoulder, already smiling for a camera that wasn't ready yet. I stepped into the gap on the right side, next to my dad. That's when my mom's hand landed on my shoulder. Firm. Guiding. "Sweetheart," she said, her voice low but audible enough that the people nearest us, Aunt Carol, Jessica, my cousin Derek, all turned to watch. "Not for this one." I blinked. "What?" She leaned in closer, her breath smelling like cinnamon and wine. Her smile never faltered. To anyone watching from across the room, We probably looked like we were sharing a sweet mother-daughter moment. Sit in the back, she whispered. You're embarrassing us. The words hit like cold water. For a second, I thought I'd misheard. That maybe she'd said something else and my brain had scrambled it into something cruel. But then I looked at her face. At the tightness around her eyes. At the way her hand pressed harder on my shoulder, urging me backward, away from the frame. Mom. Cameron. Her voice sharpened, just a fraction. Please. We're trying to get a nice shot for the holiday card. She glanced down at my jeans, my plain navy sweater, my hair that I'd tied back in a ponytail because I'd come straight from a work meeting. You don't really fit the aesthetic we're going for. Aesthetic? I turned. Looked at Bryn. She was watching. She'd heard every word. And instead of stepping in, instead of saying, Mom, what the hell? She just nodded. Slowly. Deliberately. Like she'd been waiting for this moment. Like she agreed. The room didn't stop. The photographer kept adjusting her lens. Aunt Carol turned back to the group and smiled. My dad cleared his throat and straightened his tie. Kyle checked his watch. No one said a word. I stood there, frozen, my pulse hammering in my ears. Around me the party hummed on. Laughter from the kitchen, Michael Bublé on the speakers, someone's kid running past with a candy cane. But in that small pocket of space in front of the Christmas tree, under the glow of 200 warm white lights, I felt every molecule of air press against me. Felt my lungs forget how to expand. Felt my hands go numb. Cam, Bryn said quietly, her tone almost gentle, like she was coaxing a nervous dog. It's not personal. Just step back, okay? Not personal. I looked at the photographer. She was staring at her camera screen, pretending not to notice. I looked at my dad. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at the people standing behind us, waiting for their turn in front of the tree. No one moved. No one spoke up. And that's when I understood. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. One they'd all agreed to without me. I took a step back. Then another. And as I moved toward the edge of the room, toward the shadows where the Christmas lights didn't quite reach, something inside me stopped asking why. It started asking what happens next. I ended up in the hallway near the downstairs bathroom, holding a glass of wine I didn't remember refilling. From where I stood, I could still see them, my family, the photographer, the perfect holiday tableau they were building without me. Sloane took 12 shots. I counted. In every single one, Bryn stood center. My parents flanked her like bookends. Kyle smiled with his arm around her waist. They looked like something out of a Hallmark movie. Beautiful. Wholesome. Complete. I wasn't in any of them. Cameron. I turned. It was Jessica, Bryn's college roommate, the skincare entrepreneur. She held a glass of champagne and wore the kind of concerned expression people use when they want to seem caring without actually getting involved. You okay? She asked. Fine, I said automatically. She glanced toward the photo setup, then back at me. That was weird. Weird. That was the word she chose. Not cruel. Not wrong. Weird. It's fine, I said again, because what else could I say? That my mother just told me I was an embarrassment? That my sister nodded along like it was the most reasonable thing in the world? Jessica hesitated, then smiled, small pitying. Well, if you want to jump in for the extended family shot, I'm sure they'll. I'm good. She nodded, relieved to be released from the awkwardness, and drifted back toward the living room. I stayed in the hallway. From my vantage point, I could see everything. Bryn laughing with Aunt Carol. My mom adjusting the ornaments on the tree, so they'd show up better in the next round of photos. My dad shaking hands with Kyle, probably talking about investment portfolios or real estate markets. And I started remembering. Every birthday where Bryn's was a party and mine was a dinner. Every Christmas where her stocking overflowed and mine had 3 things in it. Every Thanksgiving where they asked about her life for an hour and asked about mine for 5 minutes. The college graduation where they flew to Austin for her ceremony, but told me they couldn't make the drive to Boulder because my dad had a golf tournament. The time I got promoted to senior engineer and my mom said, "That's nice, honey," and then spent 20 minutes on the phone bragging to her friends about Bryn making partner. The family vacation to Cabo 2 years ago where they paid for Bryn's flight and told me they'd help out if I really needed it. The Father's Day when I drove 3 hours to have brunch with my dad, and he spent the whole meal on his phone, texting Bryn about her new condo. Every single moment I'd swallowed down, reframed, excused. Every time I told myself I was being too sensitive, that they didn't mean it. That family was complicated and love didn't always look the way you wanted it to. But standing there, watching them pose for a Christmas card I wouldn't be in, I finally let myself see the truth I'd been avoiding for 34 years. They didn't forget to include me. They chose not to. And the difference between those two things was everything. I set my wine glass on the hallway table. My hands were steady now. My pulse had slowed. The hurt was still there, sitting heavy in my chest, but underneath it was something colder. Something sharper. Something that had been waiting a long time to finally wake up. I left at 8:47 p.m. No dramatic exit. No slam doors. I just slipped out the side entrance near the garage while everyone was distracted by the dessert table. No one noticed. The drive back to Boulder took 45 minutes in light traffic. I kept the radio off. Just the hum of the highway and my own breathing. My hands gripped the steering wheel at 10 and 2. The way my dad taught me when I was 16. Back when I still believed doing things the right way would make him proud. When I pulled into my condo parking lot, I sat in the car for a long time, staring at the dashboard. The check engine light had been on for 3 weeks. I kept meaning to deal with it. Inside, my place felt smaller than usual. 1 bedroom, 800 square feet, furniture from IKEA and Facebook Marketplace. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I'd bought it myself. Painted the walls myself. Fixed the leaky faucet myself. I poured a glass of water and sat on the couch in the dark, my phone lighting up every few minutes with Instagram stories from the party. Bryn posted a boomerang of her and Kyle kissing under the mistletoe. My mom posted a photo of the dessert spread with the caption, *blessed beyond measure. #family first*. I wasn't in any of them. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend, Mara. We'd met in college, stayed close even after she moved to Seattle for work. Mara ****, you good? Saw your mom's Insta. You're not in any of the pics. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I called her. She picked up on the first ring. Kang. What happened? And I told her. All of it. The whisper. The nod. The photographer pretending not to see. The hallway. The wine glass. The drive home. Mara didn't interrupt. She just listened. And when I finished, she was quiet for a beat. Then she said, "How long are you going to keep doing this to yourself?" My throat tightened. Doing what? Showing up for people who don't show up for you. I didn't answer. Because the truth was I didn't know. I'd been doing it so long I didn't know how to stop. Cam, she said gently. You're one of the smartest, kindest, most capable people I know. And you've spent your whole life trying to earn love from people who were never going to give it. Not because you're not enough. Because they've already decided you're not Bryn. The tears came then. Not loud. Just quiet, hot tracks down my face. I wanted them to love me, I whispered. The way they love her. I know. Mara's voice cracked. But baby, they're not capable of it. And you staying silent. You letting them treat you like this. It's not teaching them anything. It's just teaching you that you don't matter. I wiped my face with the back of my hand. Took a shaky breath. What do I do? Mara didn't hesitate. You stop funding their comfort. You stop showing up to places where you're invisible. You choose yourself. For once, Cam, you choose yourself. I stared at the dark TV screen across from me. Saw my own reflection, blurred and small. And for the first time in my life I thought, what if I did? I woke up to 6 notifications on my phone. All from my family group chat. The one titled Wells Fam, that my mom had created 3 years ago and used primarily to send Bryn's accomplishments and remind me about upcoming obligations. Mom, 7:42 a.m. ****, Cameron. You left so early last night. Hope everything's okay. Bryn, 8:03 a.m. ****, yeah, we missed you for the group shots. Where'd you go? Asterisk. Dad, 8:15 a.m. Call your mother. I stared at the screen, my stomach twisting. For a second, just a second, I felt the old reflex kick in. The urge to smooth it over. To apologize. To make them feel better about hurting me. I started typing. Asterisk, sorry, I wasn't feeling well. Didn't want to ruin the party. Asterisk. My thumb hovered over send. Then I deleted it. Because that's what I always did. I made their cruelty easier to live with by rewriting it as a misunderstanding. By shouldering the blame, so they didn't have to feel uncomfortable. I set the phone down and made coffee instead. By 10 a.m. my mom called. I let it ring. She left a voicemail. Sweetheart, I don't know why you're upset, but you need to understand. Last night was important for the family. We were trying to get a nice photo for the Christmas card. And I just thought, well, you know how it is. You've always been more low-key, and Bryn's got that big engagement coming up, and we wanted the card to reflect. Anyway, I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. You're being a little dramatic, don't you think? Call me back. Dramatic. I listened to it twice. Each time, I heard something different. The first time, I heard my mother's voice, familiar, reasonable, the same voice that had soothed me through scraped knees and bad grades. The second time, I heard the words underneath. The ones that said, asterisk, your pain is inconvenient. Your feelings are an overreaction. You're the problem. Asterisk. At 11:30 a.m., Bryn texted privately. Berigreknekam. Seriously. What's going on? You're acting weird. Asterisk. Bryn asterisk 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 mom's worried. She thinks you're mad at her. Asterisk. Bryn asterisk 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 you're not actually upset about the photo thing, are you? That was just logistics. You know how she gets about the Christmas card. Asterisk. I read the messages 3 times. And each time, I felt the ground shift a little more under my feet. Logistics. Like I was a piece of furniture they'd moved out of frame. I started typing a response. Something careful. Something that wouldn't rock the boat. I understand. It's fine, asterisk. But my finger wouldn't hit send. Because it wasn't fine. And pretending it was, again, would just teach them they could do it again next time. And the time after that. Forever. My phone buzzed. Mara. Mara asterisk asterisk did they reach out yet? Me asterisk 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 yeah. Asterisk Mara asterisk and? Me asterisk 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 they're rewriting it. Mom said I'm being dramatic. Bryn called it logistics. Asterisk. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Mara asterisk 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 that's what they do, Cam. They gaslight you so you doubt what you saw. So you go back to being quiet. That's the whole game. Asterisk. I stared at her text. Then I looked back at the group chat. At Bryn's messages. At my mom's voicemail notification. And I heard Mara's voice from last night. Asterisk you staying silent. It's just teaching you that you don't matter. Asterisk. My chest tightened. Because part of me, the part that had spent 34 years learning how to shrink, wanted to believe them. Wanted to believe I'd misread the situation. That my mom's whisper wasn't cruel, just practical. That Bryn's nod wasn't agreement, just what? Neutral observation? But I hadn't misread it. I'd felt it in my bones. In the way my mother's hand pressed into my shoulder. In the way Bryn looked at me and didn't flinch. I opened the group chat one more time. And instead of apologizing, instead of explaining, I typed 3 words. Me asterisk asterisk I'm taking space. Then I muted the conversation. My hands shook as I set the phone down. Not from fear. From the unfamiliar weight of a boundary I'd never drawn before. The thing about being invisible for 34 years is that people forget you're watching. They forget you know things. They forget you've been holding pieces of their lives together while they posed for pictures without you. And my family had forgotten something crucial. I was supposed to host New Year's Eve. It had been decided 3 months ago, back in September, during a family brunch at Snooze in downtown Denver. My mom had brought it up casually, the way she always did when she wanted something. Cameron, honey, you've got that nice condo in Boulder, and we haven't done New Year's there yet. What do you think? We could make it a whole thing, dinner, games, watch the ball drop in Times Square on your TV. I'd said yes. Of course I said yes. I always said yes. And over the past 12 weeks, I'd planned everything. Bought groceries for a sit-down dinner for 12 people. Ordered a custom charcuterie board from a local shop. Reserved a case of wine from Bookleaf Vineyards. Cleaned my entire condo top to bottom. Even bought new throw pillows so the living room would look festive enough, for my mother's standards. The family had been texting about it for weeks. Bryn had asked if she could bring Kyle. My dad had asked about parking. Aunt Carol had requested the gluten-free menu options. They were counting on me. And on December 27th at 9:47 a.m., I sent a single message to the group chat I'd muted 2 days earlier. Me ***** change of plans. I won't be hosting New Year's. Sorry for the late notice. ***. I didn't elaborate. Didn't offer an alternative. Didn't apologize beyond the bare minimum. I just removed myself from the equation. Then I did something I'd never done before. I opened my Instagram, the account I barely used, the one with 43 followers, mostly college acquaintances and coworkers, and I posted a photo of my empty living room. Clean. Quiet. Mine. The caption was simple. Sit in the back. You're embarrassing us. My mother, December 23, 2024. This year, I'm choosing spaces where I'm not an embarrassment. Happy New Year to everyone who's ever been told to make themselves smaller, so someone else could shine. You're not too much. They're just too little. Asterisk. I didn't tag anyone. Didn't name names. But I didn't have to. My phone exploded within minutes. Mom, 9:51 a.m. ***** Cameron. Call me right now. Asterisk. Dad, 9:53 a.m. ****. What the hell are you doing? Bryn, 9:55 a.m. ****. Are you seriously airing family business on social media? Take that down. Now asterisk. I didn't respond. I just watched the notifications roll in. Mara commented. Asterisk, proud of you. Asterisk. My cousin Derek, the one who'd ignored me at the party, sent a private DM. Asterisk, holy shit. Is this real? Did mom actually say that? Asterisk. 3 of my mom's book club friends unfollowed me. 2 of Bryn's college friends liked the post. And then the call started. My mom. My dad. Bryn. Over and over. I let every single one go to voicemail. At 11 a.m., my mom left a message. Her voice was shaking, but not with sadness. With rage. Cameron Elizabeth Wells. I don't know what you think you're doing, but you are destroying this family. People are calling me. Asking questions. Your aunt is upset. You need to take that post down immediately and apologize. We are not the villains here. You left early. You didn't communicate. And now you're punishing us because you're too sensitive to handle a little constructive feedback? Grow up. Call me back. Constructive feedback. I saved the voicemail. Then I did one more thing. I canceled the wine order. Canceled the charcuterie board. Donated the groceries to the community fridge in Boulder. Returned the throw pillows. And on New Year's Eve, while my family scrambled to find a last-minute venue and my mother fielded questions from relatives who'd seen my post, I drove to Rocky Mountain National Park. I hiked to Bear Lake alone. Watched the sunset turn the snow pink and gold. Stood in the cold, clean silence and felt my breath fog in front of me. At midnight, I texted Mara a photo of the stars over the frozen lake. Me ****, Happy New Year. Mara ***, you did it. Me ***, I did. And for the first time in 34 years, I wasn't sitting in the back. I wasn't in the picture at all. And that was exactly where I wanted to be. The fallout lasted 3 weeks. My mom stopped calling after the first week, once she realized I wasn't going to take the post down or apologize. My dad sent one final text. ***, you've made your point. This is childish. ***, I didn't respond. Bryn unfollowed me on Instagram. Then blocked me. Then, according to Mara, spent 2 hours on the phone with our mother dissecting everything I'd done wrong over the past decade, trying to rewrite history, so I was always the problem. But the extended family? They were quieter. Aunt Carol sent a private message. Asterisk, I'm sorry I didn't say something that night. I should have. Asterisk, my cousin Derek called and said he'd always felt the difference, too. That Bryn was the favorite and the rest of us were just extras in her story. By mid-January, the group chat had gone silent. No one wished me happy birthday when it came around on the 18th. Not even a text. And the strangest thing? I didn't miss it. I spent my birthday hiking Chautauqua with Mara, who flew in from Seattle just to be there. We got breakfast burritos at Illegal Pete's. Watched the sunset from Flagstaff. She gave me a card that said, asterisk, for the woman who finally chose herself. Asterisk. That night, sitting on my couch with leftover cake and a movie I actually wanted to watch, I realized something. For 34 years, I'd believed that love meant enduring. That family meant showing up no matter how small they made you feel. That loyalty was measured in how much you could tolerate. But I was wrong. Love isn't supposed to hurt like that. Family isn't supposed to cost you your dignity. And loyalty is a two-way street. Boundaries aren't cruelty. They're clarity. And walking away from people who make you feel invisible isn't giving up. It's waking up. I didn't ruin my family by standing up for myself. I just stopped pretending the foundation wasn't already broken. 3 months later, I got a text from my mom. Short. No epaleji. We're having Easter brunch. Will you come? Asterisk. I stared at it for a long time. Thought about what the old version of me would have done. The one who said yes to everything. The one who believed that showing up was the same as being valued. Then I typed 2 words. No thanks. Asterisk. And I meant it. Spring came to Boulder with wildflowers and clean air. I planted herbs on my balcony. Started rock climbing with coworkers. Laughed more. Slept better. And every time I saw a family photo on social media, someone else's family, whole and smiling, I didn't feel the old ache anymore. I felt free. Because I finally understood. You can't make people see you if they've decided you're invisible. But you can stop letting them dim your light. And that's the only revenge that matters. If you've ever been told to sit in the back, literally or metaphorically, you know exactly how this feels. That moment when the people who are supposed to love you decide you're inconvenient. When they choose their image over your dignity. When they rewrite your pain as sensitivity so they don't have to feel guilty. You're not alone. And you're not overreacting. Tell me in the comments. Where are you watching from? Have you ever had to choose yourself over family? What was the moment you finally said enough? I want to hear your story. Because every time someone shares, it reminds another person that walking away from toxicity isn't weakness. It's survival. It's strength. It's the beginning of a life where you're not constantly shrinking to fit into spaces that were never built for you. Hit that like button if this story resonated. Share it with someone who needs to hear that their feelings are valid. That their boundaries matter. That they don't owe anyone access to their peace just because they share DNA. And if you're new here, subscribe. Ring that bell. Because tomorrow, I'm posting a story that'll blow your mind. About a golden child who lost everything when the invisible sibling finally stopped funding the fantasy. You do not want to miss it. Here's the truth they don't tell you. The people who love you won't ask you to disappear. They won't ask you to dim your light, so theirs can shine brighter. They won't whisper cruelty, and then call you dramatic for bleeding. Real love makes space. It sees you. It celebrates you. And if the people in your life can't do that, you don't owe them another holiday, another photo, another silent, suffocating dinner where you smile through the erasure. You owe yourself freedom. So if you're standing in the back right now, at a party, in a family, in a life that doesn't value you, take this as your sign. Walk out. Drive home. Mute the group chat. Cancel the plans. Choose yourself. Because the people who matter will follow. And the ones who don't, they'll show you exactly who they are when you stop making their comfort your priority. Drop a comment below. Tell me your story. Let's build a space where the invisible finally gets seen. And hey, if this video helped you, share it. Someone in your life needs this message today. I'll see you in the next one. And trust me, it's going to be worth the wait. You're not too much. You've just been in rooms that are too small. Now let's go build bigger ones.